If you want to beat the best, you got to beat the best, and the best is blessed, baby.
All right, gentlemen, we've been over the rules. Protect yourself at all times. Follow my instructions. Keep it clean. Touch gloves if you wish. Let's do it.
Hosted by Zay, Bones, and Trevor.
Come take a walk through my heart, a stroll through my soul. Been smart from the start, wasn't taught, wasn't told. You could climb through my mind, or fly through my eye. And in time you will find what I rhyme is not a lie. Come take a walk through my heart, a stroll through my soul. Been smart from the start, wasn't taught, wasn't told. You could climb through my mind, or fly through my eye. And in time you will find what I rhyme is not a lie. See you dealing with a vicious mind, hard cold like Christmas time. Every time I write a rhyme, put it all on the line. No need to hold my tongue, hold the mic like you hold a gun. Haters, I'm the chosen one. Fakers, I don't roll with none. Don't you ever test my heart. Been a rebel from the start. I ain't got time to play no games. I'm too busy playing my part. Keep my mind on my mission, living by my premonitions. Through the world with blurry vision, stressing in high definition. Not the man I wanna be, but I'll be damn I'm gonna be. How in the hand I'm gonna see the obstacles in front of me.
What's up, Straight Talk Society? This is your host, Trevor, and I'm back with another episode of Straight Talk MMA. I see one of the co-hosts are in the building. We got these guys are prima donnas now. They do like 10 shows, and now they can just show up late and everything. What's going on, Zay?
Same old, same old. I was trying to share this link real quick before I jumped on because I didn't want to have to try to do it while I was on there.
Did you share it out?
Yeah, I shared it out.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Bones say he'll be here in a few. Oh man, hold on. I gotta pull up my notes that I took for the fights that I did see. So this one gonna be a little different because I did see a good enough portion of the fights and highlights of other ones. So I'll give my little commentary. Plus, there's a video circulating that I definitely want to talk about. Because I just think is over the top, but we'll get into it.
I got a perfect explanation for that. Somebody was asking me about it earlier who actually saw it. And he didn't get it, but then when I broke it down to him, you're like, "Oh, okay, it makes sense."
Yeah, I'm curious to hear your explanation because, and I'm normally the guy that's like, I let a lot of stuff fly, but I just think, when we get to it, we'll get to it. So real quick, tomorrow before Bones gets in, tomorrow night at 6:05 is the great debate between Reginald Young and Jansen Williams. They'll be debating tomorrow night. You guys don't know their history. They have a blood feud going on with one another across the debate circuit. So that's going to be real interesting tomorrow. It'll be the first official debate held over here. We're just going to forget about that other one. But this is going to be the first. This is going to be the first official debate held over on the channel. I just so anybody before anybody asks, I am still a part of SVDL. I already talked to Solar about this, so this is not anything that's catching them off guard or anything. They know about it and they're completely on board with it. So tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, the great debate is between Jansen Williams and Reginald Young. So that's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be real fun. So let's let me get my notes.
Jansen is a natural character, man.
Huh?
I say Jansen is a natural character.
Yeah,
Without even
Jansen
trying
is,
to be.
yeah, Jansen is a treasure, man, because very rarely do you luck into those type of people that's so polarizing and so unapologetic with like the stuff that he says. Like he does not
mean it all too.
Yeah, he doesn't apologize for a damn thing that he says, man. When like sometimes we'll be talking and he'll say certain things, I'm like, bro, and he'd be like, no, man, it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. I'm like, all right, well. So this, speaking of that, also this Tuesday, he's going to be doing a presentation entitled "Are We Cursed According to the Bible?" So
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so you're gonna get back to back Jansen Williams. That's gonna be real fun, man. I'm almost certain I'm looking forward to that one more than I am to the debate. I'm really looking forward to the debate tomorrow, but just giving him a live mic telling us why black people are cursed is gonna be that's gonna be fun times. That's gonna be real fun.
The debate sounds like it's gonna be fun just because I want to see him get riled up.
Yeah. He well, so Reginald Young owns him, man. They done had a few debates that I've seen, and Reggie kicks his ass every time. So it ain't even like, but unfortunately, they never debate on a neutral platform where, because because they don't follow a certain preacher, the guy's platform that they debate on normally doesn't treat them right. So that's why. That's why they're coming over here to get it done, because I'm just here for the debate. I ain't, I'm not gonna say what I agree in, either way. So that's how that goes. But yeah, it should be very interesting though, man, because it'll be the first time we're officially doing it over here. So I just want to see how it goes, and if it's good, if it turns out good, which I don't see any reason why it shouldn't, then we'll do more. We'll do more, especially now that we're in the off season of SVDL, and so their championship isn't until the 16th. So we'll have this tomorrow, kind of like a precursor. So that's how that'll go. So let's I see Bones is in the building. What's up?
Yo, what's up?
Can't call it. So let's get into this. So real quick though, what do you guys think about the card overall? Because I know Zay was saying it's the best thing he's seen. So what do you guys think about the show itself?
Yo, overall, I thought the card was pretty good. It was at a record for the most sub-minute finishes, meaning like the most people that got finished under a minute, or which was 4. So it was just, the energy was pretty electric throughout the whole night. Man, a lot of unexpected things happened too that made it real good too.
Me personally, I feel like he just undersold it. To me, it was the best card of the year so far. Like it was amazing. I'm talking about from we'll get into each individual matches, but from top to bottom, it was like, oh man, action packed. You probably had one fight on there that I could have like. It was alright, you feel me? It wasn't really that exciting, but everything else was just straight action. Shout out to the matchmakers.
Yeah, Thinking Black says excellent card, which is crazy because I know Thinking Black ain't paying $80 for it. So if he got the
But
plug,
Thinking Black don't miss a card.
yeah, but
Thinking Black don't miss a card.
but if Thinking Black got the hookup, I'd like the hookup also. That's all I'm saying. Especially that I do a show with y'all. You know, it's better that I see the cards.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. We'll work something out.
So you guys do want to do the early prelims then?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, so let me get that up. Because like I said, I went back and I watched I watched the prelims. I didn't watch the early prelims. So we'll just go through it.
You ain't have an extra 10 minutes because that's about what it would have took.
So okay, so this is what happened, and I admit it. So when I went to ESPN Plus, I looked at the times because ESPN has all the matches separated, so you just click on them. I looked at the times for everything, and there was like 3 of them that I saw that was like 20 minutes. I'm like, man, I can't sit through this. But it's funny because the ones that I did watch were saying like 10 and 8 minutes, but the matches only went like 20 seconds. So then that's when I realized, I'm like, damn, so this must have just been all the ring introductions, post-match interview, all that other stuff.
Right.
But I think I watched enough, and I know, whatever I didn't watch, I'm pretty sure y'all gonna do it more than enough justice. So let's get into this first bout. We had winner by unanimous decision, Esteban Rivovix defeats Camelo Kirk. Yeah, I thought it was going to give via it was unanimous decision.
All right, so I'm gonna start off by saying, go ahead.
I'm gonna say Camelo Kirk. He got a nice nickname. He's called Jawaiian because he's Jamaican and Hawaiian. So I thought that was pretty cool. This is his 3rd UFC fight. I feel like he more so wanted to clinch because Ribovich is a good striker. So he had some good takedowns early on. He kind of slowed down towards the end of the fight. Ribovich was able to catch him with some nice combinations, I think, in the 3rd round, and he was able to take it by decision. But it wasn't like Kurt got dominated or nothing like that. It was in my opinion, it was a kind of a closely contested fight. Go ahead, bro.
Unmute yourself, Zay.
Yeah, my bad. I was saying, Trevor, do me a favor and click those arrows by Ribovic's head. I want to show you something real quick.
All right, hold up. No, we're looking at striking.
All right, now go to round 1. You see how I say full fight, round 1?
Yeah. So round 1.
All right, so round 1, Camelo Kirk took him down like 20 seconds into the round, had him down on the ground the whole round. You can see how lopsided that is. And then round 2 and round 3, he didn't even go for a takedown. They just stood and banged. And that got Ribovic back in the fight. He dropped Camelo Kirk like twice. Both guys had real good movement. After he got dropped twice, he kind of got like tired. He got gassed out. And then you see round 3 was more the same back and forth. But except for in round 3, Camelo Kirk went back to the takedown. He got him down twice, but he popped right back up both times and just put them bangers on him. Both guys were connecting, but Ribovic had way more power on his punches, and he had way more gas in his tank. And I feel like that's what helped him eke out the win. The judges got it right unanimously, 2 rounds to 1. But to start off the very first fight on the card overall, to start it off, I would say that was a banger. That was one of those, this was a decision, but I enjoyed the whole fight. The fight as a whole was extremely entertaining.
All right, so we don't normally do early prelims. So if you got anything else on this, Bones, you want to add in?
No, I'm good.
All right, so in our next early prelim, we got okay, so we have Jesse Aguilar defeating Shannon Ross.
Jesus, man.
Huh?
Jesus. I didn't know Jesus was Mexican.
Oh, what I said, Jesse? Oh man.
Yeah, it's Jesus though. Jesus.
No, hey, it's funny because okay, hold on, because this is funny. This is a match that I actually watched, and Nene was there watching it with me, and she was like, I think she made like a Spanish Jesus a Spanish Jesus comment too. She was like, she wondered how come they say they pronounce the J, Jesus, and then we got into a whole, the letter J not even being, invented then and all that stuff, and we just got into a whole nother conversation outside of that. But yeah, so right. I want to before y'all go, I want to give my notes on this match because because I had some comments on this. And all I put was Jesse Aguilar's 17-second KO. And Ross has a definite concussion. I put that.
Absolutely. Hey.
Yeah, this was a complete darting right here. Like, it's very rare in MMA that you see somebody go with an overhand right and they land flush on a person, because usually a person will kind of parry it a little bit, or they'll try to put the hand up a little bit, and they never really get hit clean like that, especially in I think it was a flyweight division too. But he got starts, and immediately as soon as he hit, his whole body just fell down like a tree falling like timber, and his head bounced off the mat. That was pretty nasty too, and he was down there for a minute. I was surprised he was able to stand up for the decision, or when the judges said the decision.
But I think I don't think the hit is what did him. I think him falling down unprotected, and he basically did a tour. Like, you watch his head bounce off of the mat, and that's when we both looked and we was like, he's done. Like, that's it.
Yeah, because as soon as he got hit, he was immediately out, which is why he wasn't able to protect himself and land, like break his fall a little bit. He just went out completely because his arms went stiff. If you watch, as soon as he got hit, his arms went stiff up in the air, and he just fell back. And it was pretty nasty.
Hey, what I liked about it is when he did connect with that overhand right, that might have been the first punch of the fight, but you see the ripples go through his face, through his shoulders, through his chest, all the way down to his midsection. So that's the kind of force that he got hit with, and yeah, he was out. It almost looked like Aguilar wanted to help him up, and I was like, I was just in shock. I'm like, okay. Usually, when you watching a fight, you watching the early prelims, and they start off like this, okay, this is going to be one of those nights. So we got 2 fights in a row.
Yes.
First fight is like, as soon as the first fight happens, I mean, by default, it's automatically the fight of the night. But I'm like, okay, that could potentially end up being one of the ones you consider as fight of the night when it's all said and done. And then this came and this happened, and I'm like, okay, so you got 2 exciting fights back to back, and by this point, it's like it would have me jumping out my skin, like, oh man, like, well, what are we in for tonight?
Go ahead, Bones.
No, I was just saying this set the tone right here, because the first 2 fights was already real good and bangers, so you knew you was in for a good night.
So this guy's done for the year, right? I mean, you can't take a knockout like that and talk about fighting in a couple of months.
No,
I mean, I don't know. I guess I think it depends on the medical staff and what they determine. I know it will be a couple months before he compete again, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him in November or December. But what I will say is, speaking of the UFC medical staff, my boy Jack Della Maddalena was pulled off the card because his original opponent pulled out due to staph infection, and then he was scheduled to fight some guy that they signed to the UFC who was 7-0, took the fight on like 8 days' notice. But in his medicals, they determined that he got some kind of brain disease and that it wasn't safe for him to fight. Now, they were asking Dana about it, and they were saying, how could this guy be 7-0 with this disease and didn't even know it? And the sad part is, it's like, okay, no knock on the lower level organizations, but they don't really have the funds to do the tests that the UFC do. So it's kind of like a blessing in disguise, I guess, that he got signed to the UFC and they caught that. So now he can go tend to that. But that might be his career if that's an uncurable thing. But I just want to give props to the medical staff because anything could have happened to that guy within those 7 fights. He said he spent health and medical a minimum of $10 million a year.
That's why you have organizations like UFC and WWE. That's why they'll continuously be at the top, because people could shit on WWE all they want, but WWE's catching things in people's medical that other wrestling organizations would sweep under the rug, i.e. Nigel McGuinness not being able to wrestle because of his what was that, Bones? His
neck or back or something.
Yeah, he had some type of shit, but they didn't let it wrestle. But how is he wrestling with all this with Ring of Honor for so long?
Yeah.
How did they just let it go by? That's what I'm saying. So I mean, we could crap on the big boys all we want, but there's a reason why they're the big boys. They catch
Absolutely.
This type of stuff.
And that also kind of ties in with fighter pay, because even though we all want fighters to make millions of dollars, we also got to take away from that and pay their medical staff too, so they can catch stuff like this, so they can be able to afford $10 million medical staff.
And that was definitely a shot at you, Venkat, because you love to criticize WWE's medical staff, but they get it right a lot more than they get it wrong. So here's another fight here's another one that I watch. So anything I watch, I'll just, because I only got like quick notes on them. And I don't even have him in order, so I got to go. All right, so is how you say his name? Simon. Simon. That's how you say his name.
Cameron Simon.
So Cameron Simon versus Terrence Mitchell. So this was one of those that I saw. I looked at the time. I'm like, man, I'm not watching this, but I'm glad I did. So this one was just dominant. So Saim dominated it. Wait, how did I write this? So Simon Mitchell, dominant ground game. Okay, so dominant ground game by Simon, and he got the back control. So this went into the second round. This one went in the second round, right? Yeah. Yeah, this one.
No, round one. No, round one.
This finished in round one. Yeah, because I was just taking quick notes as I was doing them. That's why I don't even have them in the same order. But so I got a dominant ground game by Simon. He got back control and finished Mitchell with strikes. So basically, to me, watching that, this was a one-sided fight if I ever seen one. Mitchell did absolutely nothing, and he just he gave up his back and just got eaten up. So that's all I had with that one. Great finish though. I mean, he took care of business.
Yeah, Cameron Simon is on the road. He's 9-0 now after last night, and this is the card. This is the fight that when we got done recapping the main card, I said keep your eye out on Cameron Simon because I feel like he's a real hot prospect. I wouldn't necessarily crown him and say he'll be a champion one day, but he's definitely somebody to watch. I'm interested in seeing him grow as a contender. South African guy on the card. Terrence Mitchell, when he came out, it looked like he had an adrenaline dump because he came out so energetic. I don't know if he got discouraged or if he just got overwhelmed or what it was, but he obviously got overwhelmed. But when he was on his back, when he had his back taken and he was getting pounded out, he just looked so helpless the way he was flailing his legs, almost like he wanted to tag or something. That's all I got, though. Go ahead, Bone.
Gotta unmute yourself. Bones, you there? Ah, shit. What happened?
I don't know.
Now, Bones, they coming into the building. You can't drop off now. Where you at?
Yeah, I saw Cameron Simon from the Contender Series, which is something that they do every summer, and it's pretty much like the Ultimate Fighter but better because you don't have all the. It's like a little fight card. They put together like 5 or 6 fights, and after the fights are over, Dana White come and say, "Okay, I'm gonna give you a contract. I'm gonna give you a contract, and however you want to do it." But that's where Cameron Simon came from, and I feel like that show has been producing a lot of hot prospects. And in my opinion, they can pretty much do away with the Ultimate Fighter and just use this because it's more entertaining, it's more action and less story. I mean, they give you a little background on each fighter before they come in, but the Ultimate Fighter, they have 1 fight per episode. Everything else is just like dramatized.
You back, Bones?
Yo, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. About this fight, Cameron Simon, he's like my brother says, undefeated prospect. He's somebody to watch out for. Terrence Mitchell, this was his UFC debut. I'm pretty sure he obviously, in my opinion, had the UFC jitters because he came out, like a little hot, but then he had like a quick adrenaline dump, and that's why Simon was able to take him down and just pounded him out, basically just overwhelmed him. And it's kind of like Mitchell, he just kind of didn't want to beat her no more. He just kind of accepted defeat.
I did notice that. And I noticed, and it was another. I think so. I think this was the fight that I say, yeah, he didn't want to be there. I think this was this one. I'll see when I get to my notes. But in the final early prelims, we have Vitor Petrino defeating Marcin Pracino via submission. 3 minutes and 42 seconds in the 3rd round. So I didn't watch this one. Go ahead, Bones. You're on mute.
Bone?
Yeah, I hope you're not talking. You're on mute. Wait, let me see if I can unmute.
All right.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't unmute him. So
I'm gonna go ahead and all right. In this fight, Prochnio came out in his wild karate stance. He was trying to stick and move, be in and out. What I've noticed about this fight was Petrino looked like way bigger and way stronger. And he definitely had a definite advantage on the ground. I feel like when they were standing, it was kind of evenly matched. Petrino was stronger, but Prochnio had more technique. And but I feel like him being taken to the ground kind of like drained him a little bit. You could tell he's not really used to grappling. He needs to train some wrestling, and in my opinion, at least take down defense. But so Petrino, every time he got him to the ground, got kind of close with a submission. Looked like he kept fishing for the arm triangle, and eventually he got it in the 3rd round. I think Prochnio was gassed out and kind of like just depleted. But I will say one thing about Petrino, he got some vicious hooks. He's kind of like a powerhouse. He throw everything into everything. So I was surprised that he didn't get tired. Those guys, those bulky guys with the big muscles, that lactic acid build up in those muscles, and they usually get tired like by the middle of the 2nd round. So I was surprised with his cardio. Looked like he was a strong, powerful guy, and he was able to hold it up, carry it through all 3 rounds, and then come out of that with a submission. It was kind of impressive. So again, here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4 fights in, and out of those 4 fights, we had 1 decision.
Yo.
Yeah, you back?
Yeah, my bad. Um, yeah, Petrino. He's somebody that kind of. I think he's. I don't want to say he's gonna be a champion, but he may be. I could see him getting in the top 10 of the contenders as far as light heavyweight because that division, is desperate for new blood anyway. Uh, he do got some nasty hooks, and for his size and his build and the way that he fight, his endurance held up better than I thought it would. Uh, Pacino is a little awkward, and he was just it's like every time he got hit, it was just tagging him, and you could tell like Pacino he just had more power. Um, every time he did take him down, he was fishing for submissions, and eventually, I believe it was in the third round, he eventually got the arm triangle, which is my favorite submission, and that was pretty cool. So I'm interested to see what he's gonna do in the light heavyweight division.
Hey,
So
I would also like to say, my bad. I would also like to say that Marcin Prachnio, when he first came into the UFC, it was a lot of hype around him. They thought he was. I feel like he's underperformed throughout, and I wouldn't be surprised if he get cut.
so I'm glad you said that because I was going to ask you about this this Mitchell guy. Y'all think he gonna get another shot, or you think he gonna get cut?
I think he should get another shot because the guy he went up against is a very hot prospect, so I don't think he should get cut. I would give him another chance.
And plus, I believe that was his debut. I'm not sure about that,
Who
but
was?
yeah, I think they'll give him another shot.
Because historically Dana, like he looks at you and he could tell like if you just not cut out for it, and just looking at this guy's body language, like he just didn't. Y'all say it may be first fight jitters, but to me it just seemed like he didn't belong there. Like maybe he should have stayed in developmental a little bit longer.
I mean, only time will tell. You might be right. I
But
feel like
that
if he have another performance, they're gonna match him up with a lesser opponent. And if you have another performance like the one he just had, then yeah, he out of there.
I mean, but again, that's just me on outside looking in. Y'all break this down way more than me. So let's get into this preliminary card, which I did watch the majority of it. I think I may only didn't watch one match. So in a lightweight and light heavyweight bout, we got Jimmy Crute versus Alonzo Menifield. So to go to your point where you were talking about the other guy being so muscular, gassing out because of the lactic acid, that's what they were saying may happen to Alonzo, but they were also noting on commentary of his great cardio. So let me just get what I got real quick on this. I actually took some I took some notes on this because I rather enjoyed this fight. So I said the entire first round was spent locked up on the cage. So they literally spent the entire first round locked up on the cage to where there were a few times they stayed busy just enough so the ref didn't break them up. They were jockeying for position a lot, throwing knees, but to me they didn't do enough. It wasn't enough action in the first round because they were just so much locked up on the cage. So Menifield did get a few great shots in. Now he did tag him a couple of times, but one thing I noticed, Crute does have a chin because some of those punches were like flush, and it would have took any other man out, but he didn't go down. So at the 3-minute and 22-second marker in the second round, Crute shot in for a take, and he got the takedown, but that could have been his demise because he got the takedown. Menifield got up quick and hit like one of the damnedest neck cranks on him, and that was all she wrote. So like that neck crank was vicious. And then I wrote at the end, what a terrible post-fight interview. Man, when you talk about like a fighter having charisma, like after coming off of such a great victory, they stuck a microphone in front of this guy, and his post-fight interview was the shits. Like it was just like ugh. And what I do want to say though, Crute was taking off his gloves, and they were saying like they were saying on commentary how he that he look normally when they take their gloves off like that, that means that they're getting ready to call it quits, because they were saying how he was I guess in his last fight he took a lot of punishment, and he just takes a lot of punishment. So they were like that maybe it's, you know, it's time. He doesn't want to take it anymore, but it ended up being a swerve. They convinced him to go back and pick up his gloves. So, you know, that was it. But yeah, that was a good fight. But that post-fight interview was the shits, man. Menifield need a manager. You don't need to be talking on his own.
I feel like the reason why the first round they seem so tentative is because, and you hit on something when you said Jimmy Crute got a chin. Alonzo Menifield, you can tell when he cracked. But their last fight was against each other, and Jimmy Crute took a lot of punishment in that fight, and ended up being a draw. And they did confirm what I said yesterday, or Friday when we previewed this. The reason it was a draw is because Menifield got a point deducted bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I feel like anytime you go through a war with somebody like that, when you fight them again immediately, I feel like in the back of your head, you're already thinking about like what you went through the last time. So I think that's why they were so tentative at first. And I feel like Jimmy Crute probably felt like, okay, let me make this guy work and use his muscles in the grappling area to try to like take some of the steam off those punches and possibly get him gassed out. Menifield did say something in the post fight about how he'd been running 6 miles with Rose, and I feel like that had to help his cardio. I thought Jimmy Crute was going to retire too, but the one mistake he did make, like he said, when he shot for that double leg takedown, he left his neck out there, and Menifield grabbed it and tried to take it home with him. So, yeah, shout out to Menifield. That was an entertaining fight for as long as it lasted. It could have been more action in the first round, but I feel like I was a little bit more patient just because I understood what both of them went through in the last fight. And a lot of times when you get those fights at awards and you rebook it, it don't really live up to the first time. Sometimes it does, but a lot of times it don't. So I think with this win too, Menifield should move up into the top 15.
Yeah, he called somebody out. I forget. I mean, because you couldn't tell because his damn promo was so terrible. But I mean, man. What you got, Bones?
Yeah, I'm a Jimmy Crute fan, so this fight, it was a major setback because he came in as a hot prospect, and then he'll win, a fight or two, look good. But then whenever he, fights somebody that, is like a test for him, he always loses, all like Anthony Smith, Jamal Hill, and now this fight. So I feel like this is kind of, I don't want to say like this is it for him, but I don't think he ever finna get to where we expected him to get and where I expected him to get as a fighter. So, but and the way like his fundamentals, like the way he shot for that takedown, like my brother said, the way he left his neck out, that's something that they teach you, like early jiu-jitsu days, not to leave your neck out like that. And that was a nasty, just dart stroke, I believe it was, and he got him. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Menifield, he don't have good promo skills, which is why most people don't really know about him, even though he's a good fighter.
But also too, like I feel like that's kind of like y'all wrestling mind because it's not a promo; it's an interview. You can turn it into a promo if you want to, but it's basically an interview. That being said, yeah, like hearing him talk was a snooze fest.
It was
a snooze fest. he didn't say nothing to make you interested in him, but I feel like overall, I wouldn't stop. That wouldn't stop me from being excited about seeing him fight again because he's a finisher. But if he didn't have that finishing ability, then he'd be like, man, get this guy out of here.
You know what he reminded me of? So every fight that I watched on this and every post interview that they did, everybody, I felt like, man, I could get behind this person, especially the person that won in the co-main. I'm like, you know what? I could get behind this person because I'm not asking you to be over the top wrestling guy. That's not what I'm asking. I know that's not what this is. But Joe Rogan was doing the post match interviews, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So Joe Rogan is asking him, and Joe Rogan is basically saying, "Yeah, you won the last fight." Like he said it. He was he was like,
Yeah.
he said you clearly won the last fight, but minus the point deduction. I just feel like anybody with any charisma would have took it there right then and there and been like, it would have been able to just turn on real quick. He was like, yeah, I want to thank my I got my wife at home and my kids. I want to thank them too. And it was just like, bro, you need a manager for real, man. Like,
he gave him alley. You should have let Pat Barry talk for him.
He's
Pat Barry was right there.
Fighter.
Yeah.
Hey, that is a good point too. I believe since aligning with Pat Barry, he's winless in he's hasn't lost in his last 4 fights, with the last fight being a draw. But Jimmy Crute was ranked number 14. I think he should fall out of the rankings, and I think Minifield should take his spot at number 14, or at least get him number 15.
So I'm God, I hope so. I want to talk about that ending though. Because you guys, both of you guys said the same thing about how he left his neck out there after he went for the takedown. Do you guys think so? Like, I'm watching this, and again, I used to watch UFC a lot, probably just as much as y'all, but now I don't. Do y'all think like the takedown is overrated now in today's game? Because I'm watching these guys, and since we've been doing these shows, we did 13 of them. It's forcing me to have to watch a lot of this stuff again. And most of the people I see go for takedowns, if you're not a good wrestler to where you could just get a guy down and just maul him, 9 out of 10 you're giving it up like right then and there. So are they just going for the takedowns to get the points, or did they have something else in mind? Like, hey, I'm gonna get the takedown and I'm gonna demolish this guy. Like, there's a fight I was watching Khabib. I think I was watching Khabib and Conor today for some reason. Like, Khabib took Conor down and ended him. Took him down and ended him. A lot of these fighters I see, they do the takedown and they just lay and pray on the guy. Like, they don't control anything.
I feel like in Jimmy Crute's case, if you go back to the last fight, he got dropped 3 times in that last fight. Then this fight took him back too. So and plus Jimmy Crute is considered to be more of a well-rounded and a better grappler than Minifield is. So it's become obvious in the last 2 fights that Minifield has a striking advantage. So I feel like Jimmy Crute just kind of got desperate, and he knew that was his best path to victory. But in that sense, he just got careless and left his neck out. So in his case, I feel like he was doing it because that was his best path to victory, because he was losing in the stand-up. But a lot of fighters, they do it to just, score points or lay in pray or conserve energy or something like that.
So and also too, I wanted to compound on that by saying that like in a fight, I feel like if you can show your opponent you can take him down, that's just something else they got to worry about. So it's like, now if I take you down twice and you got back up, but it wasn't easy for you to get back up, and I feign a takedown, that's going to make you drop your hand. And a lot of times when people are fighting, if you're a good wrestler and you can take a person down and lay and pray on them, it's like that freezes up a person's offense because they don't want to throw, because they feel like while they're throwing, you might duck under for the takedown, a la Robbie Lawler versus Colby Covington. Colby Covington is a wrestler, but he set a record for most strikes thrown and landed in that fight against Robbie Lawler, because Robbie Lawler was worried about the takedown, so it kind of froze him. Kind of like Khabib is a wrestler, but he was able to drop Conor because Conor was worried about the wrestling.
See, I knew y'all would have an answer to it.
Yeah, much as I hate that fight, the only way Khabib was able to drop Conor, there's no way Khabib is a better striker than Conor. But Conor feared that takedown and not mauling from the Dagestani so much that his hands were low and he was able to get caught, There's no way Khabib was a better striker, but he caught him because he's got a major threat at the takedown department.
For some reason that fight popped up on my timeline today, so I watched it. Like, Conor just looked scared of him in that fight. So I guess because of all the crap Conor talked and all the stuff he did, he probably was like, man, this guy coming in here to kill me. Like, that's probably what he was thinking.
And when he had him on the ground, he was talking to him. Let's talk now. Let's talk now.
Yeah.
What?
And
What?
even when he won, he didn't want to let him go. He still leaned up on him, and who was it? Herb Dean had to push him away, and he was like, yeah. Connor just had that look on his face, like, man, I don't want no part of this guy.
Hey, we can move on, man.
Did you see the melee after the fight?
I just saw the finishing. I didn't see the rest of it.
Okay, after that fight, Khabib jumped over the cage and swooped down on Connor's grappling coach Dylan Dennis, and they got in the fight. And then two of Khabib's people jumped the fence and jumped Connor.
Okay, maybe I did see that. All right, so boy, so now this one. This was an upset here because I want to say this was a huge upset, and my daughter was watching this with me. My wife and daughter was watching this one with me because we had to run it back twice just so we could see what the hell happened. So in the next women's strawweight bout, we have Yasmin Yagiri, I guess, losing to Denise Gomes. 20 seconds in the first round by a TKO. So let me see what I had for this one. For this one, I have Denise Gomes TKOs Yasmin quick. So a quick 1-2 punch that levels her, and then the destruction against the cage. Ref stoppage 20 seconds in the first round. So it's like she literally just destroyed her. Like, she almost Amanda Nunes over Cyborg to this girl, and like the look on her face at the end. And I heard somebody saying, I heard one of the commentators kind of trying to make a defense that maybe the ref stopped it too early. Nah, she got her ass because he probably could have stepped in a few seconds earlier.
Because look, I actually counted, and against the cage after she got dropped with the 1-2 piece, she ate at least 10 or 11 unanswered shots. Like,
So I had it at 6.
Hey, look at the strike number because it was one-way traffic.
Oh yeah, we could just look at the numbers on there. Yeah, she got so total strikes 21. Wow. So
yeah, because the way she dropped her, I think she only threw like maybe 4 or 5 standing strikes, and the rest was just ground and pound, I believe. I don't know,
man.
That's what.
So what's this upset like though? Because this was a pretty big upset though.
Yeah, Yasmin is undefeated. She was undefeated, a prospect, and this card was littered with Mexican talent. So she had the crowd behind her, and the crowd was popping for her and everything. The crowd got quiet real quick after she got TKO, but this just put Denise Gomes on the map, and now we just turn our eyes to her and see what she's gonna do next.
Again, another fighter coming off Dana White's Contender Series. We saw her on Contender Series. Made a mental note due to her performance on there because she scored a knockout there. This was somebody to look out for. Came to the UFC, she 1-1. Now she's 2-1. Yasmin is like the hottest thing smoking in Mexico, and everybody looked at her kind of like the Canadian version of Mike Malott. Like, that's our next big thing coming out of Mexico, the MMA savior, and she got that work. It was an overhand right that dropped her. And you could tell she didn't have her wits because it's almost like she was trying to stumble back up, but she just kept losing her balance. And once she got against the cage, Denise Gomes held her by the back of her head with her right arm and just unloaded left uppercuts like in succession. It was crazy. And then that early stoppage thing, I don't want to hear that. That was like you said, Trevor. He could have stepped in a little bit earlier. He actually gave her every chance possible to fight back and try to get back in the fight, but it wasn't happening. And I feel like she was going to try to get up and argue the stoppage, but when she tried to get up, she couldn't really get up. So I feel like that just killed the argument right there. But Yeah, I'm interested to see what Denise Gomes is going to do in the future. It's very rare that you see power like that from a strawweight, and that was also the quickest finish in strawweight history, women's strawweight history. Well, yeah, strawweight history, and she also got a performance bonus.
Man, so
And
she
that
got
goes also too for back to Jesus Aguilar. You don't see knockouts like that in the flyweight division unless it's Davis and Figueredo. So I feel like these guys coming up and gals coming up in the lighter weight classes are starting to pack some pop.
there had to be multiple performance bonus because you had this one, you had the Aguilar, you had the Lawler and Nico, and who else knows whatever happened on the
And
y'all
keep in
know what
mind,
happened on
by
the
the,
main card.
and keep in mind now. So up to this point, we only saw one decision, and that was the very first fight of the night, which was a war.
Yep.
All right, so we have okay, there was enough. See, I didn't see this one. You know what? I think I did. Wait a minute. I did see this one, but I really wasn't paying attention to this one. So in the catchweight bout, Tatsuro Taira versus Edgar Chairez, and who is that? Tatsuro won via unanimous decision. He was a heavy favorite anyway, but yeah, he won via unanimous decision. I had it on, but I wasn't paying attention to this one.
Go ahead, bro.
And this one, he didn't really miss much. Neither guy was really impressive. It was pretty much a lay and pray affair. They stayed on the ground. Tatsuro did catch him with some nice elbows. As a matter of fact, I take that back. Chairez, he hurt. He hurt. I can't even say his name. He hurt Tyra in the first round, but then Tyra tried to go for a takedown, and he jumped the guillotine. And when he tried to get the guillotine, he lost it, and now he on his back. He got pounded out a little bit. He almost got subbed. Second round came. Tyra, I guess, noticing that it's the path of least resistance, instantly tried to go for a takedown, and he jumped for the guillotine again. And he got pounded out some more. And then in the third round, it's like he came out and he was striking, and he looked like he was coming back. And he was doing real good on the feet. And then I say in the last probably 20 seconds, Tyra went for a takedown again. Chairez snatched the neck and went for a guillotine, but this time he would have got it if he wouldn't have ran out of time. He almost pulled off something.
Okay, that's what that fight was. That's the one where I think I
Yeah,
texted you. I
yeah.
was like, if he had 10 more seconds, that would have been it.
Yeah. And Tyrese just looked different because I guess he shaved his head.
Yeah. For this fight, Tyra, he was more so just he kept going for the takedowns, and then every time he'll go for him, Suarez went for a guillotine. And I don't know, I just feel like Tyra got to work on his takedowns because he just kind of kept leaving his neck exposed. But he will always have his legs on the opposite side, so he wasn't able to get the guillotine. But I think the third or fourth time in the third round, Suarez almost got him, and like y'all said, if he would have had 10 more seconds, I feel like he would have been out. But that was basically the story of the fight.
Yeah, I feel like the only reason Tyra didn't tap is because he heard those clappers. So he was he knew it was 10 seconds left, and he just rolled it out, tried to thug it out until.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but it was tight though, and then he got him in full mount with it too. And bro, I will say you're right. Like that's something he got to work on. Like it was pretty cool how every time he got caught in it, by the time he got down, he immediately jumped to side control. But against a better jiu-jitsu player, that neck would be gone.
Yeah. Well, you can't do that against a Charles Oliveira or something like that, you know.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah, he was definitely saved by the bell in that fight. But so in another fight that was I want to say probably a shocker of the night, even more than the Gomes fight. At least from everything that I heard, you have Robbie Lawler, the 40-year-old retiring Robbie Lawler, demolishing Nico Price, and Robbie Lawler was a heavy underdog. So what I got written for this, I said age doesn't mean shit. The vet handled business. If you blinked, you missed it. Robbie delivers an uppercut, gets a clinch, then follows with 2 left hooks and then an uppercut. Thanks for coming, Nico. That was it. That was it. And I mean, if you look at the strike card, 8 strikes for Lawler, 2 for Nico. I don't even remember Nico getting 2 strikes in, to tell you the truth.
I think he got him in the clinch, so it was kind of really hard to tell that he really was getting strikes on. But man, this was a tough one. This was bittersweet because I'm a Robbie Lawler fan. I like Robbie Lawler, but Nico, my boy, I seen him fighting down here in South Florida for lower promotions before he got to the UFC, and he was just thrashing people down here. So I'm always be a Nico Price fan, but he has no striking defense, man. It's crazy because even his last fight, he got TKO'd against the fence because his striking defense, he's just too wild and he just throw, just regardless of what's going on. But shout out to Robbie Lawler, though. I'm proud of him. He went out with a bang. It's very rare that you see MMA fighters retire on a high note like that. It's extremely rare, so he deserves it, and I'm proud of him. But the way Nico fought that uppercut, and then after he caught him with the uppercut, he hit him like to the side of the head too, like in the ear, and he just folded, and that was it.
Yeah, that was one of those. The way he dropped, like you could tell, it was like he just dropped. Like it was, he folded up. He didn't try to brace himself or nothing. He was out before he hit the ground. Yes, it was a vintage performer by Robbie Lawler. And when we previewed this fight, I said that I see a good chance Robbie Lawler could win this fight. And I was happy that it happened. The way he went out was just like, it made me feel so good. Then when they showed the video of all his highlights, put a little package together like a tribute, I'm not gonna lie, it made me get a little emotional because I just felt that. You feel me? I was happy to see Robbie Lawler go out on top. Ruthless Robbie Lawler is like the perfect name for him. He was always one of my favorite. And I just think about all the wars that he's been in and all the performances he put on. The two wars with Johnny Hendricks, the war with Carlos Condit, the wars that he had with Rory McDonald, the Nick Diaz fight. The Rory McDonald fight actually was put in the Hall of Fame this week. And so how fitting is it that his fight goes into the Hall of Fame and then he ends his career a few days later with a vintage knockout. And I'm pretty sure he's not coming back, and I'll be glad to see him not come back because it can't end no better than that. So just shout out to Robbie Lawler, future Hall of Famer.
Hey, one thing that he said that the reason why he decided to retire in this fight is because he stopped enjoying the training. He started losing his love for training and all that kind of stuff. So I respect him for recognizing that and going out like that. And I will say, I did get a chance to see him fight one time live. And he knocked out Melvin Mainoff in a nasty knockout. So I'm glad I got a chance to see him.
That's the one you and Chris went to together, right?
Yeah.
And Strikeforce?
Yep.
So I think DC was saying, I think it was DC saying on commentary, he was saying that veterans don't normally get to go out like that. Like they normally go out on their shield. And when he says that, they mean like you go out with the loss. You ain't going out.
Yeah.
Like this was the most perfect way for him to go out. So now my question, how soon before we see him back?
Nah.
Well, based off of what Dana was saying, because they asked him why don't they do those tribute packages for other fighters when they retire, And he said because when most fighters retire, they usually don't know if they're coming back, or especially if they get a win, they might want to come back. But he said he's had multiple conversations with Robbie before and after that fight, and he knows that he's not coming back. So shout out to that. Like I'm pretty. I was glad to hear that he won't be coming back, because if you come back, it won't end like that. And he said something himself that he wasn't feeling it the whole training camp. He didn't feel right. He felt sluggish. He wasn't really up for it. And then the day of the fight, around 2 p.m., he started feeling great, and he knew that something good was going to happen.
Yeah, I guess them training camps take so much out of you, you know, the weeks and however long a training camp for for a 15-minute fight, at least scheduled for 15 minutes. Yeah, that was awesome though, because I remember like I was watching it when it happened, and I'm like, oh, oh God. Because the way he up that uppercuts, the uppercut stood him up into the clinch, into the 2 left hooks, and then the finishing uppercut KO. And you don't normally see a man go down to an uppercut like that. Had to be a vicious, like that was a vicious uppercut, man. Whew.
Yeah, but
we can't hear you.
I was in mute, my bad. But I said I knew this fight was going to be fireworks, because both of them are always involved in firefights. So I knew it was going to be kind of chaotic. I just didn't realize it was going to be one. I didn't expect it to be one-sided like that, but I was happy with it. My whole house erupted when that happened.
All right, so let's get into the main card. So apparently I was supposed to do something when I found out that Val Woodburn was one of my fellow countrymen, had he won this match, because must probably be the biggest underdog ever, but it wasn't so. So by KO TKO in the first 38 seconds in the first round, Bo Nickal beats Val Woodburn.
Hey, this fight was insane, just for the simple reason that Bo Nickel, he's an Olympic wrestler, you know what I'm saying? And so all his fights, I think this is his 5th fight. He was 4-0 before this. He's just been taking people down and, using submissions and all that kind of stuff, using his clinch game and all that kind of stuff. But for this fight, as soon as the fight started, Woodburn charged at him, and he caught him with a nice punch. He actually caught Bo Nickel, and Bo Nickel like reset, and then he stunned him, and then like he reset again, and then caught him like another one, and just dropped him, and it was crazy. So now it opens up a door, because now that his striking is like that, and we see that he got that kind of power, that's scary now, because he's not just a wrestler and he gonna live and pray on you. Now we know that he can knock you out. So it's real interesting to see what's gonna happen now.
Yeah, shout out to Val Woodburn. I feel like you got to give him credit for taking this fight on 2 or 3 days' notice against Bo Nickel, debuting in the UFC on a international fight week on the main pay-per-view card. But Bo Nickel just ran through him like a ball saw. He didn't show no fear. He came out and was willing to engage immediately. I feel like Bo Nickel went for a clinch real quick, but Val kind of pushed him off and caught him. And I'm not gonna say he rocked him, but he definitely got his attention with those 2 shots that he landed. And then Bo Nickel was like, "All right, so let's strike." And then they had an exchange. I couldn't see what clipped him, but when he got hit, he was out before Bo Nickel knew it, because he got hit and he froze, but he kept a game face. And then when he froze, that's when Bo Nickel reset again and came and hit him with a 2-piece, and it dropped him. And when he dropped him, he just stood over him and pretty much pounded him out. Yeah, Bo Nickel, seeing his striking like that, it is kind of scary. Like, he got some power. Dana was saying how Val Woodburn is a real guy. Like, don't get it twisted. This guy's a real guy, and he confirmed that he will be back in the UFC, and he's going to give him another shot, just for doing a solid of taking this fight and kind of keeping the fight on the card. So that's pretty much all I got on that one.
All right, so let's
Oh, he
move on.
also said that Bo Nickel, my bad, Bo Nickel, he is no need to rush him. He's gonna take it slow, and no need to try to rush him into the top 15, which I think is pretty smart.
So yeah, I had my reservations about having such a heavy underdog in there, but I guess he didn't get too much damage. So in a lightweight bout, we had Jalen Turner on the losing end via split decision to Dan Hooker. So this was okay. So we done probably went through like 10 fights already, and this is like the third decision. So that means for an exciting card. And this is like the third decision on the card so far.
I think it's the second, right?
It's second or third.
No,
Second.
it's the third. It's the third.
Yeah, I think it's the third.
It's the third.
Yeah.
The first fight, the first early prelim was a decision, and then Chavez lost by decision, and now you got this decision.
All right, to me, this was fight of the night, in my opinion. Me and my brother was saying on the previous show that we're both interested to see how Jalen Turner will use his range against Dan Hooker, who also has long range. It's just Jalen Turner is a little bit lankier. He has all 13 of his wins are by finish, so he go in there, he finished people. Hooker, his last fight, he won by TKO. And he's looking to come in the bang. Turner caught Hooker with a nasty head kick, and he caught him flush too. Like Hooker didn't put his hand up or nothing to block it. I believe it was in the second round, and it stumbled him, and it cut him open too, like with a cut above his forehead. And he caught him like another head kick too, and it dropped him. And somehow Dan Hooker ended up coming back in the second round. He caught Jalen Turner with a nasty combo up against the cage, and he actually had Jalen Turner like kind of turning around. And I feel like Jalen Turner, he never been in the world like that, or probably never been hit so hard, because even like his eyes were like wide open and everything like that. And then if I remember right, Hooker got him in a submission too, and was close to submitting him. And then in the third round, Hooker turned it up some more, and he was able to come back, because at one point, we thought he was going to get finished, and he was a bloody mess, and he just kind of looked dejected a little bit, and he was getting hit with some nasty body kicks too, and some teep kicks to the body. But yeah, he was able to come back and win the decision, and he just earned my respect even more, and made me even more of a fight fan than what I was before.
Man, this fight right here was fireworks. They came out. It was action packed from beginning to end. The first round definitely went to Jalen Turner. You could tell he had the speed advantage. He was landing those kicks and that jab. That jab was busting Hooker's nose up, but he didn't really get busted up until the second round. But the first round definitely went to Turner. The kicks right up the middle to the gut. He had nice head movement. Dan Hooker was looking like it was going to be a long night for him. Second round comes, and Jalen Turner he looks like the more proficient striker. There was back and forth traffic, but then he caught Dan Hooker with a head kick. Now, how in the hell Dan Hooker stayed on his feet after that head kick, didn't block it, ate it flush, like if there was any way, it was almost like it was like, let me kick you in the head as hard as I can before we continue this round. And he said, okay. That's how perfect that kick was that connected. And he just stood there like a Terminator. And so then I thought, okay, this got to be the beginning of the end. They went at it some more. Jalen Turner caught him with another head kick. And I believe that's where Dan Hooker broke his wrist, because they did confirm he broke his wrist in the second round. You could never tell because he kept on it. I feel like at some point in the second round, he got tired of getting his ass kicked and just said, all right, let's just make it ugly. and he put a flurry on Turner, connected with him. Turner backed up against the cage, and then he was trying to slip and slide, do a rope a dope almost, but he just kept getting caught. And then at one point he stuck his tongue out and made a face at a down hooker to show him like as if to say that's all you got. And so then Hooker caught him with some more punches, and then every time Jalen Turner would make the decision, I got to fight back and try to walk him back down. Then Hooker would catch him and knock him, almost spin him around into the fence. And then towards the end of the round, Hooker was able to take him down. No, he dropped him, I think. And then when Turner was getting back up, Hooker grabbed him, ended up getting his back, caught him in the rear naked choke. And that's when you see Jalen Turner's eyes get wide. You can tell he was worried. Time ran out, which is the only reason he didn't get finished. So now it's one round apiece going into the third. And that second round was kind of close because I feel like Jalen Turner definitely won the majority of the round, but the way the round ended, it's almost like Hooker almost won the fight in that round. And then the third round came and Jalen Turner just wasn't the same fighter anymore. Like Thinking Black said, it was crazy surviving those head kicks because they were super clean. Like, oh man, it was amazing. And but Hooker ended up pulling it off. I feel like the decision definitely went to the right guy. But if they would have gave it to Jalen Turner, I would have understood it because that second round was a swing round. Those Aussies are tough, man. I would like to see what's next for both fighters. I feel like this loss don't hurt Jalen Turner too bad because he's still really young in the sport, and he'll bounce back and come for it. I feel like Hooker needed it more than Jalen Turner because, like I said, it was Hooker's. He's on the way back up, whereas Turner was just on the way up. But all in all, it was a great fight. And in my head, I'm telling myself, this has to be fight of the night. Like, I don't think anything else is going to top this.
Hey, so bro, I got a question.
What's up?
Who do you think both fighters should fight next? Because I'm looking at the standings now. Matt Revolt, 15. You got Renato Marcano at 13.
I would give Dan Hooker probably like a physio or something like that. And then I would let Marcano and
Jalen Turner fight each other?
or I would even give him like a Sarukian. I would give Dan Hooker or Armin Sarukian, and I would give Jalen Turner Renato Marcano. Favola got a fight coming up already. I forgot his name.
Okay. Yeah, I think those are both good matchups.
What I'm noticing about this card is a lot of upsets.
Yep. The Denise huge upset.
I'm just looking at the odds of every fight, and for the majority of them, the underdogs won, and won in spectacular fashion.
We're gonna get to a bigger upset later on, though.
Well, so this is one I want to. So I just saw the highlights of the fight actually. But there's okay. So when y'all talk about this, we'll talk about the post fight afterwards. Don't just talk about the fight. The post fight interview is going to be his own thing. So let's just talk about the fight. You have Robert Whitaker, who is a heavy favorite and number 2 ranked middleweight, losing in round 2 via TKO to Dricus du Plessis. All right, guys, he was outstriked tremendously. Holy crap. All right, what you guys got on this one?
Hey, this is my fight right here because even though I'm a Bobby Knuckles fan, Robert Whitaker, we talked about it before, Trevor. I want to see, I use the word parity, but I want to see different matchups, Adesanya already beat Whitaker twice. The first time he knocked him out nasty. And I didn't want to see them fight again for a third time. So I wanted Dricus to win, even though I didn't think he would pull it off, but I wanted him to win so that way he can, be a fresh matchup for Adesanya. And being that they're both from Africa and everything like that. I feel like nobody picked Dricus to win this fight. All right, fighters, analysts, anybody, fans, nobody. But when the fight started, I believe it was kind of even in the first round, but I believe it was in the second round when Rodríguez ended up catching him with that nasty combo. And first he caught him with a jab that dropped him. And when he dropped Robert Whitaker, he stood back up, and then he kind of caught him with like a nice combo and got him up against the cage, and he just caught him with some nasty body shots too. And then he fell, and he just kind of just kept grounding and pounding him, and the referee pulled him off of him. But I popped for this one, man. This was a good one for me. I was real excited for this. And then after the fight, Adesanya was in the crowd the whole time because he knew he would probably fight the winner of whoever won this fight.
Don't go to don't. That's a separate thing. We're not gonna talk about the interview.
All right.
That's a separate thing. I want to deal with the fight first.
I'm done with the fight analysis. I'm just real happy that Rodríguez won. I'm a fan of him, and I'm happy that he won. And it was very shocking because the only person that, Wonder Boy beat Bobby Knuckles, but I believe that was at welterweight. Only person that beat him at middleweight is Adesanya, and to see him get finished like this, that was very, very impressive. And they kept talking about Rodríguez Duplessis having a deviated septum and it affecting his cardio, and this was the first fight since he got it fixed. And even though it didn't go the distance, he didn't look tired to me. So hopefully that did work out for him. It looked like it did.
Hey, Bones, you can go suck on the lemon with all that excitement about Bobby Knuckles getting finished. I didn't appreciate it last night, and I don't appreciate it right now. This is I had to eat crow on this one because oh man, nobody not named Israel Adesanya has defeated Robert Whitaker in the past 9.5 years. In my mind, there was no way that Rodríguez was going to win this fight unless Robert Whitaker just slipped on a lemon or pulled a Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, or something like that. That was the only way I saw Bobby Knuckles losing this fight. But Rodríguez earned it. And when the fight started off, it's like it honestly looked like what everybody thought it was going to be. Bobby Knuckles was, despite what the numbers look like, Bobby Knuckles came out in the first half of the first round and was just piecing him up, had his timing down. Every time Rodríguez thought he was going to come in for a strike, Bobby would just catch him with a jab. He was catching him with some mean leg kicks. He was just mixing it up. He shot for a takedown, couldn't get it. And eventually, at one point, they clinched up, and Rodríguez hit him with a judo trip and then got him on the ground. And that's when things started going downhill for Bobby Knuckles. He caught him with an elbow that cut him open. And it looked like he didn't really have too many answers for that ground game, which was surprising to me. And then in the second round, they came out, and again, Robert was piecing him up. Robert was doing his thing. And then he had nice movement. Every time Rodríguez swung, it's like Robert Whitaker was out of the way. And then all of a sudden, Rodríguez just started connecting. And Rodríguez said that he was going to finish this fight in the second round. And I'd be down. He called it because he caught Robert Whitaker with a jab out of nowhere. And the jab dropped him real quick. And it's very rare you see somebody get dropped with a jab. I guess that speaks to the power that I was sleeping on. And so Robert got back up, and his facial expression changed. You could tell he was really feeling that jab. And then Rodríguez caught him again and stumbled him. He fell into the cage, and he was just balled up. He wasn't even swinging back. He was in straight recovery mode. And speaks to a high fight IQ of Rodríguez Duplessis because he didn't just headhunt. He went to the body and caught him with a mean body hook. And that one right there, you see Robert Whitaker just drop to like almost a seated position. And then Rodríguez stood over him and just rained down. They say when prayers go up, blessings come down. I feel like Robert Whitaker was throwing prayers up, but only punches was coming down. So, yeah, that was pretty much it. The ref pulled him off, and that was that. Big shocker. Nobody saw that coming. and I was pretty upset about it.
Hey, bro, I got a question because we both noticed this on Robert's entrance to the octagon. He was doing the facial expressions and getting real hyped up, and I felt like that was kind of a bad sign for him because the last time we seen him do that was his first fight against Adesanya when he got. So, do you think that he was too emotional for the fight, or he was overlooking Dricus and just looking ahead to Adesanya, or what?
Honestly, I think he was the only person that wasn't overlooking Dricus because he was the only person saying like, and you would think that it was just him trying to hype up his opponent, so when he win, that it will hype up himself. But he was the only one saying how dangerous Dricus was and how he had to fight a perfect fight and couldn't make no mistakes. So maybe he saw something we didn't see, or maybe you're right. But we did both point that out how he came out like a little bit more hype than usual. And last time we saw him doing that was against the Adesanya fight, and Izzy pointed it out like, yeah, I knew when he came out that he was trying to like get himself in the zone. Maybe he didn't really get up for this fight. Maybe he felt like, okay, like I got to get myself hyped up because maybe he didn't really respect him. Who knows? I would like to see. I would like to know what his mentality was going into that, but I definitely questioned it.
Hey, but look, how much better is this though? Because if Robert Whitaker would have won, then we probably seen that matchup for a third time. But now you got Adesanya's next two title challenges lined up with Dricus du Plessis and Sean Strickland. So I love it, man. I'm real happy for it. I'm
I,
excited to see.
I don't know if Sean. I don't know if Sean Strickland gonna sit out that long and wait to be the next challenger. But in that sense, I guess it's good for the sport that we got some new blood in there. And the
And
thing about that is they want him to. I think he took minimal damage enough to where I don't know what's going on the inside, but from the outside looking in, it seems like he would be good enough to go in 9 weeks. But that's a whole nother training camp.
yeah,
So Thursday when we did the preview show, you guys were saying like Whitaker is basically unbeatable. But I feel like I remember Zay you telling me that this du Plessis guy was your boy. I don't know.
my boy, my brother not a fan of him.
Okay, so that's because I know
No,
one of y'all
it's not that
really
I'm not a fan. Yeah, it's not that I'm not a fan. I'm just not as high on him as you are.
All right, so we got the fight out of the way. So there's a video floating around the internet. So YouTube, don't flag my video. I know y'all like to do this. I'm gonna play a real short clip, and I want you guys to explain this to me because this is crazy. Let's see. Let me know when you can see it. All right, it's up.
We see it.
Let's go, nigga. Yeah, nigga. What's up, nigga? Get this shit up. What you gonna do, nigga? Yeah, my African brother. Yeah, my African brother. What's up, nigga?
I'm African, but I ain't no brother of yours,
Hey,
son.
my nigga, let's go. You my nigga for real. I'll show you.
So what are you saying to everybody?
Let's go, nigga. What's up, bitch? Let's go, nigga. Yeah, nigga. What's up, nigga?
Get this shit
What
up.
you gonna do, nigga? Yeah, my African brother. Yeah, my African brother. What's up, nigga?
I'm African, but I ain't no brother of yours,
Hey,
son.
my nigga, let's go. You my nigga for real. I'll show you.
So what are you saying to everybody?
Let's go.
All right, so I remember Thursday, ironically, one of y'all were telling me that the baby faces of UFC and Adesanya is one of them. One of y'all told me that. I don't remember which one of y'all did. So
Yeah, it was me.
So when I see this video, I want somebody to justify this to me now because I'm like, well, I'm all for, like, I'm the guy who's just been saying these guys need to have personalities. These guys need to, have some rah-rah about them so they could tap into that superstar. But when I see a African, because Adesanya is African and this white guy is African, so you got an African coming into the octagon and he's berating the white boy, calling him a nigger a whole bunch of times. So first of all, you couldn't attack him any other way, and second of all, like, the UFC is just okay with this. So like, y'all tell me what's going on, because maybe I'm looking into this
let me
too.
get this one. Let me get so. All right. So in order to understand what just happened, Israel Adesanya has a hell of a lot of personality. He is a superstar as far as like MMA community is concerned, and everything he does, he's extremely intelligent. From the first time I saw him fight and then get on the mic and do a post fight, I'm like, damn, like he got the best of both worlds. Not only is he super skilled, but he gonna say something that's gonna make you interested. So, in my opinion, when I first saw him, I said that that's gonna be a superstar. Now, the backstory to this is after Dricus's last fight, you know, Kamaru Usman, Francis Ngannou, and Israel Adesanya, all three are Nigerian, are African, I should say. Adesanya and Kamaru are Nigerian. After Dricus's last fight, he was saying he wanted to win the belt and bring the belt to Africa for the first time. He'll be the first true African champion. Even though those guys were all African champions, they never brought the belt to Africa. They don't live in Africa. He currently lives in South Africa. He is going to be the first true African champion. So those guys took offense to that, and Adesanya was telling him that, yeah, you live in South Africa, but do your 26andMe. You'll see where you really come from, because you're white in South Africa, so you're obviously European. Like, know your history, blah, 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 blah. So I feel like by him getting in there, and it's almost like saying, like, okay, it's almost like telling a Native American that they're not really American. You get what I'm saying? But meanwhile, it's like our ancestry is from somewhere else, when theirs is from right here. So his purpose of getting in there and calling him a nigga is like, okay, if you're South African, you can say it back, right? No, you can't. You know why you can't? Because you're not. Yeah, you were born in Africa, but you're not African. That's how I saw that. That was my whole. I think that was his whole purpose in that, and that's why when he came in, before he got on the mic and he was standing to the side, Dricus was like, "Yeah, my next fight is going to be against my fellow Africans." He totally changed his tone. Before he was saying they weren't real Africans. Now he's saying my next fight is going to be against my African brother right here. Blah 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 blah. Trying to take the respectful role, and that's when Israel came up and was like, yeah, what's up now? And he was trying to make him say it back. Because if he would have said it back, then the backlash that would have came with it would have been like, yeah, but you're African, right? So I feel like he kind of put him in a spot to where, like, either you're going to stoop to my level or you're not. But either way, it's going to prove my point. And he even told him, like, I know where I'm from. Do your 26andMe to find out where you're from. So I feel like that was his whole purpose behind that. And as far as Dana, he had a full Rick James moment in the post-fight press conference when they asked him. The question was, how do you feel about the controversial racial undertone that was used to promote this fight? And then he was like, what? And then he was like, oh yeah, how do you feel about the racial undertone? He said, what racial undertone? There's a racial undertone? What racial undertone? I didn't get a racial undertone. Oh, is that what people are saying? Well, people can go fuck themselves. This is the UFC. These guys are going to fight, so they can say whatever they want. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, my brother couldn't have said it better. Basically, Rodríguez, after he won his last fight, he was saying that he's going to be the one to bring the championship to Africa, because he is the true African, and this, that, the other, basically insinuating that the Nigerian-born guys aren't true Africans, and he's the true African because he lives over there still, technically. So yeah, Adesanya took offense to that, and that's why he stuck to him like that. Because
No, go ahead.
kept saying, "Oh, do your 26andMe, because if you do research, your ancestors aren't, like really from here and all that kind of stuff, and whatever." But Yeah.
That sounds good, but the one thing to that, when people say nigger, they're not talking about Africans. Nigger has never been nigger is something to describe Black Americans. So again, the two African guys going at it, and again, I ain't gonna be the guy who sit here and act like I really care, because I don't. I'm just saying it's real funny that they could go in the octagon and freely say that. But had white boys said it back, then it would have been a whole big controversy. And now you would have done again, you would have split two different people again, because you'd been like, oh, Adesanyo's Black, so he could say it. Well, hold on. The white boy from Africa too. So if y'all saying because he's Black, he could say it, they both from the same continent. So why can't he say it? So Adesanya should have picked a better, you at some point. It's just like over here, I don't let people say the F word anymore, because at some point you got to be able to sting people harder than just the common easy tropes that you go to. Like that looks really stupid that you got two Africans. That's almost like two a darker skinned Black guy and a lighter skinned Black guy over here arguing about who's not Black American. Like
go ahead and say it. That's just like Zay and somebody else. You can say it.
Huh?
I said, go ahead and say it. That's just like Zay and somebody else saying that, Zay not really Black. I just said it. I just said it because I'm a light skinned nigga. That's all.
It makes no sense though. It's just like they African, like that's what I'm, like. I see if the white boy was European, then it would kind of sting more.
But technically, he is. That's what he's trying to say.
But he's not.
That's what he's trying to say.
They're both from the same continent.
Yeah, in my opinion, I wish she did it some a little bit.
Let me ask you this. All right, you were born here, right, Trevor?
No, I was born in Jamaica.
Oh, okay, so never mind then. You just killed that. so, all right. I got Spanish homeboys that were born here, but they're still Spanish. It's Chinese people that were born here, but they're still Chinese. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, man, he could have, and the fact that Dana White, well, Dana is Dana. Dana got beat up his wife and nothing happened to him. So, I mean, the fact that you could allow this, but I bet you what he couldn't say and get any backlash. I bet you if he used another F word that rhymes with stag, I bet you the backlash would have been like ridiculously crazy. I bet you that. I bet if he would have made like a homosexual slur to him, they would have been trying to cancel him and strip him of his title. But
you must not know who Sean Strickland is.
But you free to call him a nigga all over the place. I'm like, come on, man, get out of here.
Hey, in the UFC, it seems so far you can say whatever you want to say. I'm waiting on the day that somebody says something that Dana make them take it back. But this dude, Sean Strickland, he say the most homophobic, most sexist, most American things, and yeah, people backlash, but Dana don't give them no, like, it's a free country, say what you want. That's his stance on it. Now, if somebody was to put the pressure on Dana, would he change? I don't know, but so far he's been holding up to that standard. But I do get what you're saying. It did sound kind of ignorant, like when you just listen to it. It did sound kind of ignorant in the way he kept repeating it. He could have found another way to do it, but I feel like that was his reasoning behind it.
Man, if he would have called him a cracker, it would have been so much better. That would have been the burn, because you know that they're both from Africa, but you've been like, nah, cracker. Like, come on, man. You calling him a nigga. You basically validating him as what you're trying to say he's not. They don't look at it that way. But if he would have called him a cracker or something like that, then he would have been like, damn, but whatever. But when I saw the video, I'm like, damn. I said, so that's what we doing now? Like the African, but it goes to the bigger point that Africans don't even like black people. So it goes to different that just goes to an even bigger point. Because black people always talking about going back to Africa and stuff like that. Africans don't like black people. Don't get it twisted.
Hey, don't take me back. I stay right here.
Oh boy. All right, let's oh man. Hold on. So Thinking Black says, okay, that mitigates it. I understand, but I wish he chose a different tactic. He should have at least said, say it back African. Yeah, like
that would have been perfect.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like that would have been the sting. Like if you really don't think that we represent Africa, like say it back, cracker, or something like that. Just like nigga is just so tired, so played out. I mean, like I said, it's the reason why we get away from the F word all the time over here, because I'm like, damn, at some point you got to be able to widen your vocabulary and say something different to still get your point across. And everybody know I'm the king of the F-bomb, so that was the hardest on me, not to be able to drop them the way I do. So, all right, but that's my grandstand for the day. But really, I mean, really, in the grand scheme of things, I don't care, because I mean, if I can't care about the nigger word if I'm not right. If I use it as much as I do. But what I'm saying is, in that instance, there could have been so many other better things to say than that. But I am looking forward to that fight though.
I never looked at it like that. But
hello, right. Hey Trevor, I got a personal question for you. Are you now more invested in that fight because of what happened? Right, as from your personal interest?
Yeah, because there's heat there now.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, it's heat. And obviously, and I didn't know this backstory about the whole. See, that's what I would have ran with. That would have been my whole thing. I'd have been like, man, this cracker think that he more African than me. That's exactly what I would have said. That would have been my whole thing. And I'd have been like, I'm gonna bust his ass with the soul of my ancestors behind me. Yeah. Like, see, I could make up stuff like that. Like, I could just come up with stuff like that off the dome.
But what you just said about what the soul of my ancestors behind me, that's generally the way Adesanya talks. He always talk about his ancestors. He always talking about his ancestors helping him will stuff. He even said it last night. Well, before this fight happened, he said that him and his ancestors was going to will Duplessis into victory. And then after the fight, he was like, I will this into happening because I want to fuck you up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that I totally get, man. Like that type of stuff. But yeah, I am absolutely more intrigued by it now, just because it looks like it's some legit bad blood there. All right, so I think we got 2 fights left. So we got the co-main. Here's another upset. I mean, so in the flyweight title bout, you have champion Brandon Moreno losing a split decision to Alexander Pantoja, and that was fight of the night, and Robert Whitaker and Duplessis was performance of the night. So what's the difference?
Basically, I guess they
give the fight of the night goes to a single.
Go ahead, bro. No, I was just gonna say the performance of the night is to a single athlete, but then the fight of the night is like between both fighters, I believe.
Okay. So I'm assuming Duplessis got the performance of the night.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Him and Denise Gomez, and then this was fight of the night. And boy, when I say the Turner and Hooker fight was a barn burner, and I thought that was going to be fight of the night, when this one happened, it's like this was like one of the best fights I've seen all year, to be honest. First round came out, Brandon Moreno, he lost that round. He got taken down. He kind of looked flat in the first round. Um, he pretty much got like kind of. I'm not gonna say dominated because it was back and forth, but he definitely lost the first round by a wide margin. The second round, Moreno came out and was piecing up Pantoja. It looked like he had him tired. He cut him open, so now they're both bleeding because Pantoja cut him open in the first round. Yeah, if you look at those stats round by round, you can see how like it flipped and flopped. The biggest difference in this fight was control time on the ground from Pantoja. Um, on the feet, Brandon Moreno was piecing him up, rocking him with you name it. He hit him with it. Head kicks, jabs. The jab was very consistent. Hooks and uppercuts, kicks to the body, leg kicks, elbows. Pantoja looked like a bloody mess by the end of the second round. And I thought he was going to get finished in the second round. Third round, they come out, and then Pantoja win the third round. It was a whole lot of scrambles, whole lot of back and forth. I meant to watch this fight again before we did the show. But one thing I will say, Pantoja has, like every time he got hurt, there was a couple of times he didn't go for a takedown. He just got dropped, and on the way down, he tried to grab and ended up taking Brandon Moreno down. I feel like Brandon Moreno tried to go too hard for the finish and got caught up in some of those scrambles and got taken to the ground. There were like quite a few times where he was on his back or Pantoja had him on the ground in like a body lock while he had his back, and Brandon Moreno would reverse out of it. So it was a lot of transitions back and forth. This fight was back and forth the whole time, especially on the ground, on the feet. You can tell Moreno was the sharper boxer. Fourth round comes, and right now I have it scored in my head 2-1, and then I feel like Moreno won the fourth round, but he did more damage, but I feel like a lot of the time that he was like looking like he was gonna get the finish, Pantoja would find a way to get him to the ground and then grind him out there. There was one point where Brandon Moreno was only throwing jabs with his right hand, and I was wondering like if something was wrong with his left hand, but then he started throwing it again. Pantoja had a chance to finish him with a rear naked choke, but you can tell he hardly had any gas left. He had blood all in his eyes. He had his eyes closed, looking like he was desperate. I can't tell you how many times we sat here and said, "Oh, he out of there. It's over. It's over. He out of there," referring to Pantoja, and he stuck around. The fifth round, Pantoja kind of dominated it with like grappling, and that was the fight. Split decision went to Pantoja. It could have went to Moreno. I was hoping it went to Moreno, but it didn't. Pantoja definitely earned that. And then you find out after the fight, Brandon Moreno didn't say it, but in the post-fight, Dana said that Brandon Moreno broke his hand in the first round. So to know that he broke his hand in the first round and beat up Pantoja the way he did, it's like Pantoja got his ass kicked, but technically he won the fight. It was weird. And I can't argue with the decision, so I know it sounds weird to say, but that's one of those fights you just gotta like watch and see for yourself. It was one of the best fights I've seen all year. I can't say enough about this fight. Pantoja, I feel like he overperformed. Everybody talking about they want to see a rematch, but I think they should move on because that's their third fight, and Pantoja won all three. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch later down the line. If Moreno was more of a dominant champion, I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch either. But I mean, they've been playing hot potato with this belt kinda, and like I said on Thursday, if Moreno would have won this fight, it would have cemented him as, okay, this is my reign in the flyweight division, and it's my time right now. But I would like to see Brendan Royval go ahead and go against Pantoja, and then they can probably let Moreno get another win and then come back for the belt. But yeah, this was one of the best fights I've seen all year. I know I keep saying it, but it was just action packed from the end. My daughter sat here and watched the whole fight with me.
Yeah. up to this point, the Jalen Turner fight was clearly the fight of the night, and I didn't think that they could top it. But with this fight, Moreno came out and he was actually like he was faster. He had more hand speed than Pantoja. He was hitting him with some nice jabs, but I don't remember what it was, but Pantoja caught him with a punch and dropped him in the first round. And I feel like that kind of changed the pace of the fight, and it made I don't know it won Pantoja the round definitely because up until then, Moreno was winning that round. Um, Fast forward to the second round, Moreno just kept piecing him up with jabs and hitting him with some nice combinations, and he had him leaking. And Pantoja was a bloody mess, and his face was swollen and everything. And I thought he was going to get finished in the second round. And he has 5 losses, and all 5 of his losses have been by decision, so he's never been finished. So that's just to show you how tough he is. He was getting pieced up the whole fight, but he would manage to get takedowns in and control like the majority of the round. So that's how he was able to edge in the split decision. The fact that one of the judges gave rounds, I believe it was 2, 3, 4, and 5, or 3, 4, and 5 to Moreno, is absolutely absurd and insane. I don't understand how that happened. We got to do better with the judging in MMA. I don't know what the solution is, but we got to figure something out. It was a pretty back and forth fight, but I wouldn't argue with the decision overall. Pantoja winning. I wanted Moreno to win, but it was a good fight. And Pantoja, he earned respect from me too, because I thought he was going to get finished multiple times.
Hey, if you ever want to see somebody literally, like the definition of willing yourself to a win, that was Pantoja all day. Like he literally willed himself to that win, and it was extremely impressive. I didn't want him to win, but I can't take nothing away from him. He definitely earned it. Blood, sweat, and tears. And the way he collapsed after they announced the decision is like, I feel like he wanted to collapse like from round 2. I feel like he kind of gassed himself out trying to finish in round 1. And he's also a guy that's never seen a 4th round. He's never been in a 5-round fight. So for him to go all 5 rounds against Brandon Moreno's last 5 or 6 fights have been title fights. So it just showed a lot of heart, a lot of will, a lot of determination.
It's one of those weird kind of fights where if it was like scored on a pride system, Moreno would have won the fight. Because overall, just if you look at the damage and everything, it looks like Moreno won the fight, and I feel like he wanted to win the fight, but it was just those takedowns, and he couldn't get back up.
That's what I want to get to.
Yeah, so it's just the takedowns negated it. But if it was like a street fight or something, Moreno would have thrashed him. He would have won. But he got to find a way to get back up. Especially if you're going to be a champion and sustain your championship run, then you're going to face fighters that's going to come with the takedowns and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts and wrestlers and stuff like that. So you got to evolve your game and get. He has evolved a lot, but you got to evolve more though, and work on his takedown defense, his sprawl defense, and just his ground as far as getting back up and everything.
Hey, but you know what I was thinking too? At one point, remember when he got taken down and got back up, and Pantoja had a body lock, and he was trying to break the grip, and it seemed like it took forever for him to break it.
Yeah,
I wonder how much. I wonder how much of a role his broken hand played into that.
Yeah, that's true too. I didn't even know. Yeah,
I didn't know it either. That's what I'm saying, man. These guys like
him and Dan Hooker.
For Dan Hooker to break his wrist in the second round and we not know it, and for Brandon Moreno to break his hand in the first round and we not know it, and he go all 5 rounds and put on a performance like that as well, still kept throwing it, and still had power behind it. It's like
even with a broken hand, he still was faster than Pantoja, in my opinion.
Yeah, he was, and he was landing with more power. So it's like, man, like how do you not respect these guys? I honestly look at them like the best athletes in the world. These are like modern day gladiators, and it's also impressive for Pantoja to beat this version of Brandon Moreno, because Brandon Moreno is not the same fighter as he was 5 years ago when they last fought. So for him to beat this version, you could tell a lot of that with desperation and he had plenty of opportunities to find a way out of that fight without looking bad. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
nobody would have knew he was looking for a way out because he had, but his survival skills was just second to none. This was definitely the card of the year so far. Like
Yep.
this is one of those cards that's gonna go down in history as like, oh yeah, that was one of those ones.
So what I want to look at, because I'm looking at these striking cards, you got total strikes, significant strikes. So Moreno led in every round, landing a significantly more amount of strikes and damaging strikes. But in the only card he lost in was the takedown, 6-2. So
Yep.
do the
And the
takedowns
ground,
weigh that much more than everything else?
All right, it does, because in a way, all right, if I'm piecing you up for the first 2 minutes of the fight, but then you take me down and control me for 3 minutes of the fight, the judges are going to give you that round because you control me for 3 minutes. And I feel like it should be a little bit more skewed, because if you have me on the ground but you're not doing damage and you're just laying there praying on me, I don't think that should win you the fight if I pieced you up for the first 2 minutes and did more damage. But that's the way the scoring system is.
it's not really the takedowns, it's the control time, I think, that did it.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, he took him down quite a few times, but I think he was successful in like probably like 55-60% of his takedowns. I think he was like 6 of 13 or something like that. But I think what it was the control time, and he did do some damage, and he was searching for subs and whatnot. He was close with a couple of them, but eventually, a lot of times Moreno would either get back up or he would reverse it. But by the time he did that, it wasn't much time left in the fight, so he kind of grinded out that victory. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and with the new scoring system, they're supposed to be scoring damage over everything. So it's just weird. I agree with you. They gotta do better with these judges, because the round that was most decisive for Pantoja, one of the judges gave it to Moreno. So I didn't understand that. But like I said, I got to go back and watch it again and try to watch it with no volume to like not be influenced by the commentators. But from what I really remember seeing, like Moreno did way more damage. He just in a shorter amount of time, he got controlled a lot.
Yeah, if they're scoring on damage, then Moreno should have won the fight. But to my brother's point, it's not just the takedowns, because you can take me down 8 times, but if I sprawl and get back up all 8 of those times, then it's going to kind of negate the takedown. But if you take me down and control me, then that's when you win the round and stuff like that, when you control the person. And in my opinion, you don't necessarily have to be doing damage, but you just have to control the person and not let them get back up, and the judges will give it to you.
All right, well, let's get to the main event. Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair Rodríguez. Volkanovski won via KO TKO in the third round, 4 minutes 19 seconds into the third round. Again, here's another one where you're just looking at this, 149 total strikes to 57 strikes, but Volkanovski destroyed him in the takedowns with 7-0. So he just dominated the hell out of him in this fight. So what do you guys got?
It was a lot of layers to this fight. One layer was that Yair was very lanky, and he has a lot of kicks, and he's very unorthodox, and he has the elbows and everything like that. Another layer was that Yair in the past, like when he fought Frankie Edgar and everything like that, he wasn't the best with getting up off the ground, as far as being taken down. But he seems to have improved that. But like leading up to this fight, because he was able to submit Brian Ortega, and he also submitted Josh Emmett. So his last 2 fights, he won by submission off the ground, off his back. So leading up into this fight, I was pretty confident that if Volt was able to take him down, he'll be able to at least cut him up with elbows or get him in a triangle, or not even submit him, but just at least pose a threat off the ground. But when the fight started, I would see like for the first 40 seconds, neither fighter really threw a strike. They was kind of filling each other out, and I guess Yair was trying to get that range. But Eventually, Volkanovski was able to clinch him up and get him in the takedown. But the difference is when Volk was able to take down Yair as opposed to like the last fight with Pantoja and Marino, Volk was getting him with some good ground and pound and like smashing him up and just kind of taking his will away over the course of the fight. Like by him doing that through round 1, 2, and 3. By the time the third round came, Yair was just kind of, his will was kind of taken away. In the third round, he did catch Volkanovski with a few kicks. It wasn't, like he rocked him or anything, but he did catch him with a few kicks. But then Volk caught him with a hook or a jab and kind of backed him up a little bit, and then caught him with like another punch, and then he just took him down and slammed him, and then just grounded him out and pounded him out. And I feel like the punch that stunned him, he was already hurt from that punch, and he just couldn't recover and didn't have time to recover. And Volkanovski is still the reigning and defending champion, and still I think he's ranked number 1 or 2 pound for pound in the rankings too.
With this fight, I'm not even gonna really get into the X's and O's because what stands out to me the most is just Volkanovski is that guy. I used to sleep on him, but I stopped, and he's won 23 of his last 22 fights. That one being the one that is questionable if he lost it or not, the decision against Makhachev, a weight class up. It's crazy to me how he's just so well rounded, but usually when you say a fighter is well rounded, is like they're pretty decent everywhere. But nah, this man seems like he's on another level everywhere. Like he can outstrike you. He can pull any tool out of his bag that he needs at any given moment and use it to destroy you. His cardio is through the roof. I felt like this is gonna be one of his biggest challenges, and he made it look easy. He did get rocked. I ain't gonna say rocked. He probably got stunned early in the first round, and you could tell those kicks was getting to him in the third a little bit. But overall, the way he just manhandled him, and when he got him on the ground, he didn't just lay on him. He mostly had him in like a stacked position where he stayed on his feet. But Yair was on the ground and just rained down punches, kind of like how he was doing Makhachev. Volkanovski is that guy, man. He's at the point in his career right now where I feel like you just got to give him his props. He's one of the best pound for pound. And again, those Aussies, those guys coming out of city kickboxing, and it's like they on another level, man. Alexander Volkanovski, Israel Adesanya, Carlos Ulberg, Dan Hooker. All of those guys are just like, I don't know, it's pretty impressive. Like you can tell they cut from the same cloth. Whatever formula they got going over there is working for them. Volk was saying how he would like to squeeze 2 more fights in this year before the fight, but they was telling him he want to go back and fight Makhachev, but he don't want to wait till October. So he was saying maybe he could defend his belt and then go fight Makhachev in October. But apparently he gotta have some kind of surgery, like a scope or something. So he's looking to just get 1 more in this year. The question is, who is it gonna be? Like it could be Ilia Topuria. I know he was there. But after this, I don't really see nobody really. I gotta see somebody in featherweight beat him before I ever pick against him.
Hey, bro,
Daniel was saying that
you just said it right there because I'm looking at the rankings right now. Yair was number 1, he beat him. Matt Holloway number 2, he beat him twice. Ortega, he beat him.
no, he beat Holloway 3 times.
3 times. On the island number 4, but he's coming off a loss. So number 5 would be my boy, undefeated Georgia, Ilia Topuria, and I think Ilia would get him just because he my boy, and I've been with him since day 1. So I think Ilia would take his belt from him.
You think that way? You think he would, or you want him to?
Both.
Yeah, we'll have to make a little friendly bet on that one.
And then as far as Yair, I think that his next fight should be number 9 ranked Giga Chikadze because I don't think he got a fight coming up.
Dana was saying that he could do whatever he want at this point. Like whether he want to move up and try to take that belt or whatever he want to do, like he for it. And according to him, he want to go get the lightweight belt and then defend them both. If he can pull that off, I think that would really cement him as like one of
The
the
GOAT.
greatest to ever do it.
Yep.
He's already, in my opinion, and tell me if you disagree, but in my opinion, he's the featherweight GOAT.
No, Jose Aldo, man.
He beat him twice though.
I know, but that was later. Aldo, if you look at Aldo's whole like featherweight career combined with UFC and WEC, Volk got a little bit more work before he can eclipse Aldo, in my opinion.
22 wins in a row.
Yeah, but how many of those were in the UFC?
Well, look at his resume: Chad Mendez, Brian Ortega, Holloway 3 times. Holloway, who also was looked at as the greatest featherweight of his time at that time. Like, and all these guys in their prime. Yair, the way, not just the fact that he beat Yair, but the way he did it, the way he running through these guys is impressive. The Korean Zombie, but Korean Zombie was past his prime. I mean, I don't really see how it's disputed. I mean, I feel like as of right now, he's put together the best resume in featherweight history, and for him to, if he was able to go and get another belt and then come back and defend this one, I mean, the only other person I see really is Arnold Allen, even though he just lost to Holloway, but at this point, he's running out of contenders.
I'm telling you, man, my boy Ilya Shapur is the one that's going to take the belt from him. If he beat him, then I give it all up to him.
Fair enough.
I got to see him beat him first because I think that he's the truth, and I don't think that he can be beat.
Anybody can be beat.
Well, I don't think he gonna. I think he's on the tear right now to where he's not gonna lose no time soon. Because right now,
Robert Whittaker lost last night. Anybody can be beat.
Yeah, I know, but Robert Whittaker got a lot more miles than Ilya Tapora do. And Robert Whittaker already done been to the. Ilya is a rising contender who didn't get to the top yet, so he still got that hunger and that thirst.
So I'm gonna start doing this. What we do this on Wrestling with Reality. A scale of 1 to 10. Give this card a number. This event a number.
I give it a 9.
Wow.
I mean, I never give anything a 10. But if it's hard to give this anything less than a 10, because I mean, what more can you ask for out of a UFC card? What more can you ask for? Like, I mean, yeah, I didn't get the results that I wanted, but I'm not going to base the quality of the card based off of the results. I'm just like, but you got 4 decisions out of all these fights. The only thing I didn't like about it was that I give it a 9.5. The reason why I won't give it a 10 is because it's one of those cards where a fight was pulled off of it.
Yep.
But if everything would have stayed together, it would have been a 10.
Yeah, we could have got our Sean Brady versus Jack 3 name, and we could have got Bo Nickel versus Trishan Gore. Then I could have given it a 9.5 or something like that. But when you got those late replacements, they scrapped the whole Jack fight period, and I was really looking forward to that fight. I know my brother was. That's his guy. So that was a little bit of the let. That was the only letdown I would say of the card.
So y'all saying this the greatest UFC card y'all ever seen? Then
no, it's the
I
best
can't
card.
say it's the greatest because I've seen so many. I probably forgot. I got to rewatch and whatnot, but this was definitely up there. Like, it's gonna go down as one of the greatest UFC cards in UFC history. In my honest, humble opinion, like I honestly feel that way, and I feel like you can ask anybody anybody who in the chat right now who saw the card, like if I'm over exaggerating, let me know.
So, because 10 is the highest, and y'all come
Yeah,
out the gate at 9 and 9.5. Okay, so let me narrow it down a little bit. Since this is our 13th show, which means we've reviewed about 6 to 7 about 6 cards. So of the 6 cards that we've watched, has anything come close to this?
the only thing, well, no, because I was gonna talk about a card last November, but we weren't doing this then. When I think about a card that can compete with this, I gotta go back to November of last year, and I can't even say that it was better.
Yeah, the Miami card was good too, but that wasn't like this one because you got to think you have 4 sub-minute finishes, and that's a record. Like that's never happened before.
Not just the sub-minute finishes. Out of 13 fights, you had four decisions, and 2 of those decisions were like bangers. So it wasn't like there was only one fight where I felt like I'm ready to see the next fight, and that was that Charez fight. And if he would have ended it with that submission before the time ran out, then that would have made up for that. So yeah, I feel like this was like one of the ones, man. Like this was one, and then the crowd was so into it. And then you had watch parties from 6 different countries. You had they were showing highlights from the Brazil watch party. They were showing highlights from the Africa watch party, Mexico, Australia, Canada, and I forgot where else. And when you look at them watch parties, it's like I don't know if they was in like stadiums or what, but it was crazy.
And not to mention, very rare do you have 2 title fights, and both of them live up to expectations. Like my brother said, I wanted Yair to win, so I didn't get the results I wanted, and I wanted Moreno to win too. But at the same time, they were both great fights, and I can't take nothing away from them because I didn't get the result I wanted.
And also, I feel like this is why I don't really like the numbers and the analytics, and they don't really like mean as much to me because I would be curious to know what the gate and what the how many buys it got because I don't think that always reflects on how good it was. It just shows how many people watched it. You get what I'm saying?
Well, I said it was going to be about, what did I say, about 700. So we'll see. I mean, we won't know that for a couple of weeks. We'll definitely keep an eye out on that. So what do we have coming up next? I see Holly Holm is headlining a card.
That's going to be an interesting fight. I'm like really looking forward to that fight. Me and the missus been keeping our eyes on Mayra Bueno Silva for a minute, and I wouldn't be surprised if she got a finish over Holly Holm, but I want Holly Holm to win because I feel like she got an easy path to being a champion again before she retire, just because Amanda Nunes is no longer there. I would like to see them put her in a title fight as opposed to
Juliana Pena?
as opposed to Raquel Pennington. I would like to see it be Juliana Pena versus Holly Holm, but I don't know. She got a real tough test in front of her. But other than that, later on this month, we got the card that I feel like gonna have the fight of the year with Poirier versus Gaethje, and
For the
we gotta
BML.
get together. Yeah, for the BMF belt, and we got to get together and do one of those review shows too of a fight.
Oh, this fight is going to be next. This fight isn't this okay? So this Holly Holm fight, this is UFC. Is a UFC fight night.
Right.
So I'm looking at the card. You got Terrence McKinney versus Nazim Sadkov. You have Ottoman Alzatar versus Francisco Prado. Norma Dumont versus Chelsea Chandler. Walt Harris versus Josh Parjan. That's a heavyweight bout. That look like them boys are gonna throw some haymakers. You have a middleweight bout with Albert Dury versus Jun Young Park, and then headlined by Holly Holm and Maria Bueno Silva.
Hey, if you don't know about Will Harris, I don't know if you heard a few years ago, an MMA fighter whose daughter went missing, and then they found her body like a week later or something like that. That's Walt Harris.
Mm. I wonder
But
how old is Holly Holm?
Oh, she's like
she's in her 40s.
late 30s, early 40s. Yeah.
Okay, so she is, because she look, white women don't really age well, so she looks older than what she probably is.
Yeah, she always looked old in the face. It's weird.
Yeah, her face is very mature.
That was so eloquent when you said that. That was so amazing.
Well, I guess we damn near we just reviewed the perfect fight card. Then damn near. I mean,
yeah, pretty much, man.
I don't think
the whole thing over again.
I don't think you'll get anything closer than that for the rest of the year.
Yeah, another thing that made this fight card good was you had some upsets too. Like
there was a lot of upsets.
And then my standouts of the night was Bo Nickel, not just for the way him winning, but the way that he won. Pantoja showed a very warrior spirit that I didn't know he was capable of. Volkanovski, that dude for right now until Ilya Tapora take that belt from him. And Adesanya and Duplessis, I'm looking forward to that fight. Duplessis fan, Adesanya, my boy, so I'm gonna go with Adesanya, and he gonna crash him. That's all I got.
Yeah, and just a side note, Pantoja and Moreno both were taken straight to the hospital after that fight.
So they beat the hell out of one another.
Your former president was there last night.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, he was there. You had Mark Wahlberg. You had Mel Gibson. You had Rey Mysterio.
In
the mask. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
that kills me because they act like we don't know what he looked like.
I love when they do like the little Thanksgiving home videos and you see him eating dinner with his family with the mask on.
And the mask.
and then he answered the doorbell with the mask on.
like we just can't go look him up and see what he really looked like. or they didn't spend the whole year of him without the mask on WCW.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, all right, fellas, we over that sweet spot of 2 hours, so we're about to shut it down. So I appreciate y'all for coming through.
All right, always
no problem. Thanks for having us. Always a pleasure.
All right, no doubt. Peace to everybody that was in the chat. Thinking Black, Chris, those of you guys watching in the clouds, y'all make sure and hit that like button on your way out. That's very important. Make sure and hit that like button. All right, fellas, let me go on and close them down.
Peace.
Oh man, I gotta go to work. I gotta go to work tomorrow. My 7 days are over. Well, Straight Talk Society, appreciate you coming through, Thinking Black. Maybe one day you'll come on up here. Well, Straight Talk Society, there you have it. Another tremendous episode of Straight Talk MMA. Can you imagine? Can you believe it? We've done 13 of these so far. Man, these shows just be rolling out, man. You think you're like, oh man, I got this show idea, and then next thing you know, you're 13 in, you're 20 in. Straight Talk sessions are 25 in. You know what I mean? So it just goes to show, damn, I love to run my mouth. But I appreciate you guys for coming through. Appreciate my co-host Zay and Bones for coming through as always, dropping that knowledge on us. We'll be back again. I don't think we'll do the fight night unless it's just tremendous where they gotta review it, but there is a show coming after that, so we'll get together and do that. And then we also have to do a review show of a fight. Make sure and tune in tomorrow night, Straight Talk Sessions. We will not be having Man Talk Monday, and replace, and you know, instead of Man Talk Monday, we'll be having a debate tomorrow. The Straight Talk sessions will be the great debate between Reginald Young and Jansen Williams. Everybody loves Jansen Williams, man. Jansen Williams is crazy and unapologetic, and he is a Bible nut, I call him sometimes. But nevertheless, they're going to have a great debate tomorrow night. That's tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. And the title of that debate is, during the millennial reign, will Jesus enforce the commandments? I don't have a dog in the fight, so it's going to be, I'm interested to see what these two brothers come up with. So that, again, that's tomorrow at 6:05. So I think that's it. And then Tuesday, Jansen will be doing a presentation. Are black people cursed according to the Bible? He says absolutely, and he's going to be showing us why. Then we have Wrestling with Reality coming up Wednesday. So if you guys haven't, make sure and go back and check out that NBA show. We did 4.5 hours, and it wasn't just NBA talk. We talked about NBA free agency. We talked about the NBA draft. But my favorite part of the show was towards the end when we talked about all the layoffs at ESPN. That was a fantastic conversation. It went over 4.5 hours, the longest show we've ever done over here on the Straight Talk Society. So with all that being said, I leave you guys with these words. Always seek out the truth for yourself, because if not, you'll fall victim to other people's interpretations of them. Until next time, peace.
If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, and the best is blessed, baby.
All right, gentlemen, we've been over the rules. Protect yourself at all times. Follow my instructions. Keep it clean. Touch gloves if you wish. Let's do it.
Straight Talk MMA, hosted by Zay Bones and Trevor.